While there was plenty of action during this week's 3 hours of Monday Night Raw, there was just as much excitement after the show, once the cameras stopped rolling. Before this Thursday's Crown Jewel pay-per-view in Riot, Universal Champion Seth Rollins picked up a huge win against Eric Rowan in a Falls Count Anywhere match, but there was no time for the Beast Slayer to rest. Instead, Rollins faced the Fiend in a steel cage match with the title on the line just 3 days before the pair face off at Crown Jewel in another Falls Count Anywhere match. Fans who saw the dark match at the Enterprise Center in St. Louis have said the match was noticeably short, as it lasted less than 5 minutes, with Wyatt dominating for the early minutes of the contest. Ever resilient though, Rollins bounced back, but even after hitting multiple stomps, the Architect still couldn't keep the Fiend down. Realizing he couldn't pin the Eater of Worlds, Rollins was able to retain his gold by escaping the cage, though this still wasn't the end of his night. Applying the mandible claw and reportedly keeping it on his opponent for 2 minutes, Wyatt definitely had the last laugh, as the show ended with the Fiend walking to the back and Rollins laid out in the ring. Interestingly, the WWE used the red lights during the match, just like the pair's highly controversial Hell in a Cell match, which gave the dark match a creepy aura. Rollins may have been able to escape St. Louis as Universal Champion, but this won't be so easy on Thursday, as Seth is yet to pin Wyatt since the pair crossed paths at Clash of Champions. On the other hand, Crown Jewel may be Wyatt's last shot at the Universal title for quite some time, as with him being drafted to SmackDown earlier this month, he won't have any more shots at Raw's #1 star as part of Team Blue. It's unclear what exactly the Architect and the Fiend have planned when they meet this Thursday at Crown Jewel. Speaking to WWE.com after his Falls Count Anywhere victory over Eric Rowan on Raw, the Beast Slayer discussed the lack of respect he's felt recently, saying, "It wasn't so much about the win or loss against Rowan, it was about getting myself ready for the Fiend Bray Wyatt. There's been a lot of disrespect lately, I feel like. The Fiend is cool, fresh, and new and has this cult following, and that just puts a chip on my shoulder. I feel like I'm out here every single week busting my back, breaking my back, putting this whole company on my back sometimes, and I don't get the respect I deserve because there's this new flavor of ice cream. The dude is scary, I get that too. I don't know what it's going to take at Crown Jewel to put him away, but I'm gonna do whatever it takes to survive and prevail. It's kinda what I do." In the interview, Rollins seemed to blend kayfabe and reality into his promo, as it's no secret that fans have turned on him during this feud, even booing him at Hell in a Cell and Raw dark matches against the heel Fiend. We'll have to wait and see what response Rollins gets in Riot this Thursday, as he'll meet Wyatt in a Falls Count Anywhere match where the bout can't be stopped for any other reason. Though Wyatt and Rollins will be competing at Crown Jewel, no women will be in the conservative country, but that hasn't stopped Natalya, Lacey Evans, and Lana from making the trip. In an image on social media, all 3 women were spotted in an airport ahead of Thursday's show, and while WWE hasn't been able to hold a women's match in Saudi Arabia, that won't stop these 3 superstars from supporting those who did get on the card. One person who isn't scheduled to be on the show but may still appear is Shane McMahon, who has been spotted arriving in Saudi Arabia this week. This is interesting, as McMahon is strictly an on-air talent only and doesn't serve as an executive, leading to speculation that WWE is bringing the prodigal son back to WWE. One possibility is that McMahon will be a part of the tag team turmoil to decide the best in the world, after Shane won the same accolade at Crown Jewel 2018. The Undertaker, who isn't wrestling on the show, was recently in Saudi Arabia to promote the show, and that could be the same for McMahon, who hasn't been seen since he lost on the Fox premiere of SmackDown to Kevin Owens. From Crown Jewel to Raw now, and despite bringing in both Hulk Hogan and Ric Flair, as well as the Falls Count Anywhere match, the numbers weren't great this week. The show averaged 2.13 million viewers, down from last week's 2.34 million, and according to the Wrestling Observer, this is the 3rd worst non-holiday number in recent years. Breaking those numbers down, the show kicked off with 2.32 million tuning in, which went up to 2.4 million in Hour 2 and settled in at a worrying 1.92 million in Hour 3. There was no World Series game at the time, and the NFL game, which saw the Steelers beat the Dolphins, did its worst viewership of the year, so while there was competition for Raw, it wasn't anything like usual. The fact is that fans just aren't that interested in what WWE has to offer right now, so hopefully that'll change next week as the company starts on the road to its November tradition, Survivor Series. Back to Crown Jewel, and while Hulk Hogan will have his hands full at the show as his team deals with Team Flair, even the journey to the show is proving to be difficult for the former world champion. In a video shared on Facebook, the Hulkster spoke about his trip to Saudi Arabia and revealed that he and Jimmy Hart had a hard landing in Iceland on their private plane.
Alright guys, we are here in Iceland, and there's our plane that we just had a really hard landing on. Blew out the tires and the brakes have melted. And that thing's not going anywhere. So over there is a buddy of ours, and he's got the same type of plane we were on, and he's going to be graceful enough to let us climb on board and continue the journey. Former Minnesota boy, we're going to make it. So everything done. But anyway, quite an experience landing and having all that crazy stuff happening. So we'll keep you guys updated. Be cool and eat fruit, and let you know when we get to Saudi. Peace out. All right, there you go. Heading to St. Louis. I guess Jimmy Hart's already on his plane, sitting in there relaxing, reading the newspaper. I'll get these bags loaded up and I'll get on there. So let me go say hello to Jimmy, see if he's all relaxed up yet. Oh man, we're gonna have to change this plane and get a bigger one tonight to go to Saudi. Well, that's a nice little Hawker 800. I used to have one just like this. Yep, that's an 800. Oh boy, that's what we're doing the NWO thing for Turner. Brother, can I hand you this? Thank you, sir. All right, how you doing today?
Great. How's your afternoon going?
Everything's good, brother. Jimmy Hart here. Hey, Jimmy, how you doing, man?
It's all beautiful.
I like your plane, brother.
Look, I got my stuff.
You mind if I come with you?
Come on, listen, I got my stuff for the flight.
Okay, man.
I've got peanut
Holy
butter.
smokes.
I got cheddar cheese, peanut butter. I've got everything for a Saudi
Oh,
Arabia
boy.
trip. Potato
So you got
chip.
your peanut butter sandwiches?
You know I got them here.
Oh, man.
I got it, baby. It's all beautiful.
All right.
This is Jay. This is our pilot.
Are you familiar with these?
According to Hogan, the tires blew out and the brakes melted slightly, and thankfully everyone is okay. After saying he was using a, quote, friend from Minnesota's plane to get there, the PW Insider discovered that that friend was Brock Lesnar, as his plane had to stop in Iceland to refuel. A plane ride with Hulk Hogan, Brock Lesnar, Jimmy Hart, and Ric Flair, who was also on Hogan's flight, sounds entertaining to say the least, so hopefully the four will be able to get there and back without any more issues. Speaking of turbulence, the marriage of Rusev and Lana has been going through some serious issues as of late, and it seems the love triangle involving Bobby Lashley isn't ending anytime soon. In the final segment of Raw, Rusev was demolished by the Almighty in the ring, and while the clip went viral, that's probably not what Rusev was hoping for. Now, his wife and her lover are getting pretty comfortable with each other, as the two snuggled on a plane before takeoff, clearly pleased with themselves. We can't imagine Rusev reacted to the picture well, but until he and Lashley meet on opposing teams at Crown Jewel, the super athlete will just have to accept his wife is getting very close with another man. Since returning to WWE last year, Lashley has shown a different side of himself, in stark contrast to his strong and silent image of his first run. Since coming back, Lashley has done it all, from teaming with Lio Rush, to singing with Elias, to beating up his sisters, thanks to Sami Zayn. Speaking to TV Insider, the former Intercontinental Champion admitted that it's still been hard for him to come back to WWE, saying, "I came from a world of amateur wrestling. It was always shut up and train. The last thing you would want to do is anything else. Everything else was shut up and train. When I first came into this world, it was more hardcore. That fighting style was real and I fit right in. Coming back this time, there are so many different characters, and people are talking about entrances and costumes. Speaking about his return, Lashley said that what he had planned wasn't quite the same as what he's received, but he's learned to enjoy what has happened, saying, "It was like, where's Brock? Sign us up, let's do this, let's fight." They were like, "No, we need you to dance on Instagram, we need you to tell a joke, we need you to look sloppy and do some different things, sing on TV, make out with this lady." All these things they want that are different. I didn't understand it for a long time, but I do now. Just to see me open up where people can relate to you and get behind you. People can get behind you or against you, but they know who you are. I don't think that they know who I really am. They know what I'm capable of doing, but they don't know who I am. I think that is what we're trying to do. Just crack the shell and show a little bit more of me. It's hard to argue with Lashley's success since his return, which includes 2 stints as Intercontinental Champion, but if he ever turns face again, a match against Lesnar could be epic if the two end up on the same brand. Another star who knows about transitioning to MMA is Jake Hager, whose 3rd Bellator fight ended in a no contest after the AEW heel leveled his opponent with a knee to the crotch. Keeping up kayfabe, Hager's Inner Circle crew was in attendance for the big fight, and while Chris Jericho was popping a little bit of the bubbly elsewhere, Sammy Guevara, Ortiz, and Santana all made the trip. Another wrestler in attendance for the show was Batista, who posed for a pic with the Circle in a photo op that quickly got the pro wrestling world talking. In the caption, Santana said, "Real recognizes real," as just because the animal isn't associated with AEW yet, that doesn't mean he won't find a role with the company down the line. This past Monday was National First Responders Day in the US, and John Cena certainly made the most of the day by donating $500,000 to the LA Fire Department and California Fire Foundation. The charities were chosen by Paramount, the production company behind Cena's new film Playing with Fire, and the former world champion himself explained that he wanted to give back and help responders fighting California wildfires. We've got some AEW news now, as in preparation for next month's Full Gear event, the company has laid out a special rule for the main event. The show will be headlined by AEW champion Chris Jericho facing Cody Rhodes for the title, and if the match goes to an hour-long draw, a panel of 3 judges will decide the victor. According to the company, this is to avoid any sort of controversy in the main event, though we imagine Chris Jericho won't be pleased as he could lose his AEW World title without being pinned. Back to WWE now, and it's no secret that Dominic Mysterio wants to step into the ring with his father, and that dream just took another big step to coming true. In an interview with Marca, Dominic's father Ray revealed that his son will be going to the Performance Center next year, saying, "He's had more than 2 years to prepare, and the truth is, he's been learning pretty quickly. You can tell that it's in his blood. I'm loving being able to share the ring with him before I retire. I think he will enjoy it." Fans first got to meet Dominic during Ray's 2005 feud with Eddie Guerrero, and were recently reintroduced to him this year in Ray's feud with Samoa Joe and his current battle with Brock Lesnar. After attacking Dominic backstage on SmackDown this week, Lesnar will hope to be just as dominant this Thursday when he defends the WWE Championship against Mysterio's friend Cain Velasquez at Crown Jewel. And finally today, we're ending with some news from The Rock, who said that while he will make an announcement on Friday, he wanted to tell UFC fans and the MMA community first. On an Instagram chat with UFC President Dana White, the Brahma Bull revealed that he will present the ceremonial BMF belt this Saturday at UFC 244. The Rock will present the gold to either Nate Diaz or George Masvidal after their match, but the belt has been created for this fight only. At the end of his talk with White, Johnson said that he will make the announcement this Friday at a UFC press conference, but the company has yet to announce a time or location for that. As a client of Endeavor, the company which owns UFC, Johnson is a longtime fan of the industry, and even appeared backstage to greet his friend and former nemesis Brock Lesnar after the Beast retained the UFC heavyweight title during his incredible 700-plus day reign. The idea of Johnson presenting the belt to the winner of Saturday's main event came from Masvidal on social media, and while we know what part of Rock's announcement will be, there's always a chance he could reveal other news. The announcement of The Rock appearing at UFC 244 could be Athleticon, a 3-day event next October in Atlanta, Georgia that will focus on athletics, fitness, and entertainment, 3 points The Rock clearly represents. In an article from CNN, the idea of Athleticon hosting competitive athletic events was discussed, which could mean a UFC event being hosted at the show. For what it's worth, it's not expected that the 47-year-old Hollywood star will announce he is going to fight in the UFC, as after quietly announcing his retirement from WWE earlier this year, it seems the Great One is solely focused on his entertainment career.